thinking back that I didn't know anybody, and like all the friends that I've like made, and like just it's like really special. Yeah, and I've never had this community of people that are as interested as me in farming and food. Like that didn't exist to me. I would like talk to my friends about farming, or like I'd be like, guys, like listen to this crazy, like look at this thing, this article or whatever. They're like, yeah, cool, Natalie, that's great. But like everybody that you talk to here about these things that you're really passionate about, like they'll be so well received and like wanting to have these conversations about food and farming, and that's just been so wonderful. Yeah, it's been really, really good.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Amber Waves Farmcast. I am Amanda.
And I'm Katie.
And we are sitting here at Amber Waves Farm, which is a 35-acre organic vegetable, grain, and flower farm on the eastern end of Long Island.
And our special guests today are Maya and Natalie, two of our farm apprentices. And we're gonna have a really in-depth, exciting conversation about your experience on the farm this season. But Amanda, before we get into the nitty-gritty with Maya and Natalie, can you define for everyone listening and watching, what even is a farming apprenticeship?
An apprenticeship?
And especially, what is it at Amber Waves Farm?
Yes, so a farming apprenticeship, well, you and I met doing a farming apprenticeship.
We did.
But for that apprenticeship, we wouldn't have started our careers in farming, wouldn't have found each other, wouldn't have started Amber Waves, wouldn't have employed more than 100 people a year. So we owe a lot to the concept of apprenticeship programs. So an apprenticeship program is a paid working and learning experience. And so here at Amber Waves, that looks like 9 or 10 months of intensive work on the farm. So it's horizontally integrated across the farm. So we talk a lot about Amber Waves being a vertically integrated farm, where we start lettuce from seed in the greenhouses, and then we serve plated salads out of our kitchen. The apprenticeship is kind of integrated the opposite way, where instead of focusing people's experience in a single pillar of the organization, they're really going across, running the gamut of all of the tasks. And so apprentices are coming to us from all walks of life. Most of them are recent college or high school graduates, and they're coming to us kind of before grad school, maybe before starting their careers, or maybe a couple of years after being in the corporate world, and maybe they want to change careers, and they're coming to us.
They might be on their Saturn return.
They might be on their Saturn return.
I just don't know what that is. I did it on mine. Okay, anyways, sorry to interrupt you. Yes, coming at different times in their life from different backgrounds.
And so, and they're coming here to have a paid learning opportunity. So unlike going to grad school, where you're of course paying for your education, and enrolling in an apprenticeship program, you're paid to learn, which makes it more viable for people who are coming from a variety of walks of life and backgrounds. So our apprentices are joining us in the spring. They're joining us in mid-March. We're doing a couple weeks of orientation, and then we are covering one intensive educational topic per week over the course of the season that lines up with when we naturally start doing and introducing those things in. So Natalie, will you start by just introducing yourself and telling us what you were doing right before you started farming at Amber Waves?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Natalie, I'm from Brooklyn. So I grew up in the city, not surrounded by farms or anything agricultural. But my family has always had like a real affinity for just cooking and sharing food and enjoying the gardens that we have. And so I started farming when I was like 14, like in the summers, but I really wanted like a full immersive like farming experience of like the full season, because I'd never seen a full farming season before. And we definitely got it, and I'm like loving fall farming, by the way. It's so fun. Yeah, it's been so much fun. It's been a great season. Yeah.
I'm going to come back to this because I want to know about why fall farming is so fun, but I'm going to circle back to that question. So, Maya, will you tell us where you're from and what you're doing before you joined us at Amber Waves?
Yeah, definitely. I'm Maya. I'm from Manhattan, and right before I came to Amber Waves, I had graduated college in 2024. And I kind of wasn't really sure what I wanted to be doing long term, but I had come to farming a few years before. After the pandemic, I had kind of seen how food systems in the city especially were so fragile. And similar to Natalie, growing up in the city, like not surrounded by farms, I felt like slightly disconnected from these gaps in the food systems, but I saw how like mutual aid groups went in to fill these gaps, and I was curious as to where, you know, all this food came from outside of just seeing it in a grocery store. And so I woofed, which is like working worldwide on organic farms, in California, in like a big production area in Watsonville for like 3 months, and that kind of introduced me to farming on kind of a larger scale. It was a strawberry and pumpkin farm, like small organic, family run. And then from there I went into a bit of urban farming back in the city. And so then when I graduated college, I was curious definitely about how what I learned could be applied to other things, like whether it be, I was contemplating going to law school for a little bit, or grad school or anything like that. But then I think I ultimately realized like what makes me personally most fulfilled, and also the experience I really craved was having like this type of comprehensive experience at like a larger farm than I had been at before, because obviously in the city the acreage is so much smaller, space is a lot more limited. So being able to come out here and learn how to drive tractors, and just work at such a different scale and with such a great big team. The teams I'd worked on before were maybe 2 or 3 people, so working with the group of, at the height of its season, 20 to 25 has been amazing. And yeah, the season kind of flew by. Definitely very sad that it's winding down, but really excited for the rest of the fall. We just finished our winter squash harvest, which was a
you
lot
guys
of
are
fun.
just steaming through that this year. We're often wrapping that up, just kind of flirting with the first frost, racing to get it inside. So I don't know how, if it's been impressed upon you how big of a deal it is that we're at this point. That we're a little further ahead. For just to circle back to woofing for a second, will you just say a couple more things for anyone who's listening who's not familiar with that term of woofing and what that is, and how it's such a great gateway drug into farming if you're not quite sure you want to commit to a season?
Yeah, definitely. So woofing, it's in the US and worldwide, and you exchange your labor for food and shelter. For me, the shelter was, I brought my own tent and I slept outside for 3 months in Northern California, which was very, very beautiful, very foggy. And I worked for like 25 to 30 hours a week. So it was definitely a shorter work day. And then the rest of the time you could kind of do whatever you wanted. And it was definitely a great way to like see how farms functioned. Obviously each farm is so different, but just being in an area too, it was like our small organic pick your own strawberry farm surrounded by all of these like Driscoll's, like non-organic farms. So just driving, you know, into town, stuff like that, you can see so many like dynamics at play. But I'm very lucky and grateful for that experience, because I think it definitely made me super interested in farming, you know, like the physical aspect of it and also the like social and societal aspects of it, which I'm interested in the future.
Yeah, it's a great experience to be able to farm in 2 such vastly different growing regions of, you know, of Northern California and then in Eastern Long Island. And there are programs, as you mentioned, you know, nationally and all over the world that you could woof somewhere for 2 weeks or 3 months or 6 months. You can sign up for any length of time and match with a farm. You didn't do any woofing, did you?
I didn't, but I looked at it and I considered it. At the time, it seemed like a really viable option as an, like you said, an entry point into agriculture. Also, growing up in an urban and suburban environment, I didn't quite know how to access the rural agricultural scene, but I thought that it might be a good way. It was like a good way to dip your toes into it. I didn't end up taking that path because I wanted a full season.
Something
And
more,
I think
more intensive.
a longer term. And Natalie, you hit up on this in the beginning. A point of interest for you is you had been exposed to gardens and growing, and like it had been a part of your life. But I had the similar itch that I wanted to scratch of understanding the process of a season. And Maya, you touched on this too, of going in with a larger crew and a larger group and a team. And so what you're talking about is scale, participating in a agriculture food system at scale. Can you talk, just remind our folks who are listening what our scale is, what we grow, how much we grow, so we can
I guess I had been
Either a
warned.
delightful surprise.
I mean, there were so many delightful surprises. I mean, I knew that I would probably learn how to drive a tractor, but without a license, and I'm never like actually driving a car. That we were trusted to like sit behind a tractor and Amanda like show us like how to drive one. Like and now we like take them out into the fields and we'll do work like supervised, but now I'm confident that I can do it without somebody like there with me all the time. And like seeing that progression seeing it actually happen in real time is crazy.
So just to be clear for everybody who's listening.
City kids, no driver's license.
You learned how to drive a tractor at Amber Waves before you had your actual road DMV license.
I still don't have a road license.
There we go.
Yeah, I actually before I drove a tractor, I hadn't driven a car more than probably 200 yards. And I failed, like I like hit the bush. So like, just the fact that
you guys. Something that actually didn't come out when we were pre
I don't
training.
Talk about this.
You didn't talk about this in your interview?
But no, that we were trusted to be able to do that, and like given the tools to do that over this season is just like something that I really cherish, because there aren't a lot of apprenticeships or farms where you actually learn how to drive a tractor. I've done other apprenticeships, and they were awesome, but the depth of learning that happens here is like, I'm biased, but it really does feel unmatched. Like
Well, you're maybe not biased, you're qualified.
I'm qualified because I've done it, I'm doing it, I have to say. Yeah, so that was like honestly a surprise just internally, like for myself that I did that. And then also like people talked about August being hard. That there's a lot to like work up to and like a lot to anticipate. And I had done like the only farm that I had done previously was like the peak season summer farming. So I was like, okay, like I've done this before, I can do it. But just like on this scale with this amount of like pressure and in terms of like the amount of people that are here, like pressure to perform just to provide and like make money that we want to make for the season. That was a whole new kind of pressure, but I think I really value that experience because that's real pressure that farmers have to experience, like making money and coming out the other end. And looking back, I'm just really proud of what we were able to accomplish. And it feels really good. There were moments in August where I was like, oh my God, this is tough, but it's
well.
Good.
Tell us a little bit more why August is so hard.
Well,
and then maybe we'll talk a little bit more about why fall farming can be so fun. So what's going on in August? Why is it hard?
August is I'm surprised the harvest moon is in October, although it makes sense. But August is like harvest. Like I think most of the day you are harvesting, which a lot of people love because it's like you get into this rhythm. You can really like chat with your coworkers and like you see the real flow of the crop throughout the month, like it really from its highest production moments to its like weaning and waning whatever moments. But yeah, I mean,
so the volume of food
it's just
that
the
we're
volume
harvesting.
and the amount of harvest.
And where we are in Eastern Long Island, in East Hampton, it's the month of the year where the most people are here, where people have just, the city has emptied out, and people who come east are east, and so it's kind of like the pounding sun and the store is the busiest. So that feels like out here on the East End, the whole vibration is just vibrating at a higher frequency in the month of August. There are so many people around. They're so excited for food, but I always kind of describe August out here as people here and they aggressively want to have a good time.
Yeah.
And so that kind of adds to it. And as you said, we're a unique model at Amber Waves because we're a nonprofit teaching farm, but we also rely heavily on our CSA, our retail market, and on our kitchen to produce revenue to fund our programs. So in addition to fundraising, we also do transact commerce, and the month of August is such an important one for us to be able to perform, and that's really something that we've woven into the apprenticeship to make it feel. I think it's important for apprentices to feel like there's something at stake, like it's not air quotes just school or it's just your grade. It's the whole farm is counting on you. So we try to introduce that stress enough so that you know what it is, but not so much that it'll break you.
Yeah,
not trying to break anyone.
Yeah. No, it just teaches you. It doesn't break you, but it forms you, and then you look back. We talk about it at home because we're roommates. Just like how we did that. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, a huge sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
There's still more to do, but that is really peak production time, customer facing time.
Yeah.
So how is fall farming different from August farming?
Well, the reason why I brought it up was because I was thinking about how excited it is to be a farmer in the fall in terms of what you can bring home to your kitchen. Like I like all the summer crops are still like giving pretty much like until, I mean, I guess now a lot of, but tomatoes and zucchini and eggplant are still around and peppers. But then we have all the fall crops coming in. So like we have like the squash and the sweet potatoes, and it's so fun to cook at home at this time. Also, like I have more energy to cook, so it's really fun. But it's different in terms of bulk harvest. I feel like instead of harvesting a variety of things, you're harvesting a lot from one crop.
Yeah, so the fall is when our bulk crops come in. So whereas, you know, tomatoes, as you know, we plant 4 times and we're trying to harvest them daily from mid-July through November 1st is always our goal, which is 2 weeks away. In the fall, our storage crops are coming in huge bulk harvests. So popcorn, winter squash, sweet potatoes, and those are heavy harvests. Not so much the popcorn, but the sweet potatoes and winter squash. We're talking about tens of thousands of pounds that have to be hoisted into bins and out of the field. You know, loaded into trucks and then out of trucks and then into coolers and into warmers. It's a lot of moving heavy things.
Yeah. Maya, how about you? Most surprising thing of the season? Maybe on the positive side and the wow, whoopsie-doo, that was hard side.
Yeah, I think similar to Natalie, like being able to kind of be trusted and trust myself to drive like heavy implements has been such a great surprise of the season. I think I'm remembering this one day where I was on irrigation with Jess on this field, and Jess turned on the well from the other side of the field, and I had like my impact driver and then I was just supposed to walk around and look for leaks. And before this, obviously, yeah, also city girl, hadn't really used impact driver, anything like that before. And there was like a giant mountain of water gushing out, and I think Natalie was in the flower fields, and I didn't want to call Jess over first. I was like, okay, wait, let me see if I can handle this. And then it took me like definitely a few tries, and I was very soaking wet, but then I was able to, with the impact driver, you know, like put the clamp on and close it. And I think that's just like a small example of, I think the things I was taught at Amber Waves is being able, like being trusted and having instilled the trust in myself that I can do this, you know, even if I haven't had this experience in the past. You know, people here believe in others' capability so much, and we're all able to do hard things or do things we haven't done before. So that's definitely been a great surprise of the season, just like learning more about myself, and then also
what you're capable of.
Yeah, what I'm capable of, and being with this team in specific too. I think, yeah, obviously there are like very long, hot days, but I think I've also been surprised of how much like joy and laughter I've had here. In my other farm jobs, I've definitely also like had experiences like that, but there's something really special about being with the team, you know, 7 to 5 for weeks on end, and then also, yeah, living with some of the team members as well. So yeah, I think when I look back on like the summer months, there's definitely a lot of hustle, but then also a lot of like kind of taking in the moments and just like, yeah, having some of the funnest times together.
So, and Maya, you're from New York and you went to school in New York.
Yeah.
And so this is your first time living, not, right, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is, I mean,
the
apart
longest
from,
time.
apart from your few months in Northern California, or perhaps other times in your life, but this is the first time you've done like a year not in a city. So what's that been like?
Yeah, no, this has been the longest I've been away from the city, and I have been able to go back on weekends, which has been really nice, and it's definitely a perk of living out here. I think I've also been, I have my permit, so I've been practicing driving people in cars, and I'm working towards my license, but I think that's the main difference between, you know, living out here versus in the city, is just having to adjust to living around cars and stuff. But it's also nice. I think I really wanted to leave the city for a bit. Last fall, I think I was just feeling a little bit overwhelmed and overstimulated. And then some of my friends from high school actually came to visit this past weekend, and they all work and live in the city. And they came out, and the minute they stepped off the LIRR, they were like, wow, the air. You know, it's so nice to be able to have both. But I think definitely for me, I needed a bit of a break from the city, and being able to come out here to such a beautiful place has been so special. And yeah, it's definitely been a little bit of an adjustment, but it's one I'm grateful for.
We were talking a little bit about this yesterday and kind of our, nearing the end of the season, but now that you have experienced a season of farming at scale, and in thinking about going back to urban life and going back to New York and the sorts of farming and gardening opportunities that are available in the city, how are you thinking differently or excited about how you can apply this experience to growing in an urban setting, or to taking part in food access programs and food justice programs in the city?
Definitely. I feel so much more well-equipped and well-educated after this program. I think I became interested in Amber Waves because of, this extensive alumni network, and then also just the education we receive here is so unparalleled by any other apprenticeship program I had ever seen. And so I think that was something I maybe was missing in some of my past farming experiences, where it was a lot of learning by doing, which is great, and we do a lot of that here as well. But I think the learning by, planned curriculum.
The sit down intentional conversations and weekly topics and field walks. Yeah.
Yes, that I definitely was missing. And so now I feel like I have so much more of that, and I can, look at plants and be like, oh, okay, we need to weed that now, or I know exactly what that is, which was experience I definitely hadn't had before. So I think going forward, if I do return to urban farming, I have that knowledge that I didn't have before, and also I think the confidence in my capabilities, like I was talking about earlier, is something that I definitely was able to grow here and wouldn't have been able to have without being here.
How about you, Natalie?
Yeah, this is the longest I've lived outside of a city too. I went to college in Atlanta, so it was another city, but I've also kind of felt that the need for a car, but then again, we are so close to everything where we live. We have the town and the farm and everything. It's almost like it's a little world, a little globe.
We kind of joke that it's that Amagansett is a little bit like a Richard Scarry village.
Yeah,
There's the record store and the library and the grocery store and the train station.
It's that feeling of
a farm.
Yeah, I don't really want to leave.
Post
When I get on the
office.
LIRR, I'm like, oh darn, look at that little world I just left. So. But I also did urban farming before I came here and was teaching urban agriculture in Newark to students in our school gardens. But at that point, it was after graduating college, and I had never farmed a full season. So once it got to fall and then also spring during the school year, I was like, I don't really know what's happening. I've never actually grown a squash to harvest. I've never done that. I've just planted a squash, And so now I feel like there's kind of this badge of honor, or badge of accomplishment that you can wear into whatever next career or direction that you go, that I've done a full season and I've seen, the full process, that I also feel as a potential future going back into education or that kind of role, that I have more to give and learn. But yeah.
For someone who might be considering, our open application process happening right now. So for a future applicant to the Amber Waves Apprenticeship Program, if you're considering doing that, what would each of you say to those applicants right now to either warn them or inspire them, or, what's the reality check here? And I think
anything you wish you knew.
Yeah.
I feel like we were very well prepared going into this apprenticeship.
You were like, geez, yeah, we know it's going to be hard. Stop telling us.
But I think, that's definitely good to know, especially if people haven't. This was my first full season on a farm too, so I definitely was also not knowing exactly maybe 100% what I was getting into. So it was good to be prepared. This is going to be hard physically. And I think then when you come out of it, you're like, oh, okay, that went well, So I think, obviously with perspective, you're able to see how, different it might be. But what do you think?
Well, I think I agree. And I think if you're willing to work hard, then you got to do it. I think that if you have this feeling that you want to maybe farm, or that the idea of farming sounds interesting to you, and you have maybe, shown yourself that you can work hard, then doing this apprenticeship is is a great choice.
How did you guys decide where to land? Which farm to end up at?
I wanted a place that was connected to the city enough that I could get to without having a car. Honestly, you can be here and not know how to drive and not have a car and be totally fine. So that was a big thing for me. And then also I just knew that like this place was so community focused, like just on the farm I could just tell that the people that worked here were friends and liked each other. And coming here, like I knew nobody, and just to think back on that, like I came here and I didn't know a single soul. But I knew from my interviews and also just talking to you guys, that it was gonna be a safe, comfortable place for me. And so like thinking back that I didn't know anybody and like all the friends that I've like made, and like just, it's like really special. Yeah, and I've never had this community of people that are as interested as me in farming and food. Like that didn't exist to me. I would like talk to my friends about farming, or like I'd be like, guys, like listen to this crazy, like look at this thing, this article or whatever. They're like, yeah, cool, Natalie, that's great. But like everybody that you talk to here about these things that you're really passionate about, like they'll be so well received and like wanting to have these conversations about food and farming, and that's just been so wonderful. Yeah, it's been really, really great.
Yeah, similarly, I was also looking at some different farms in the New York area, and I decided to come to Amber partly because of like, yeah, being able to kind of proximity to the city, being able to come back and forth. And then I think also, as I mentioned earlier, like compared to like other places I was looking at, the degree of like knowledge that I knew I would be gaining, and like the way how our education is so prioritized here. Obviously we are like a full-scale production farm, but time is always taken out for us to learn. So that was something that I also deeply considered. And yeah.
I wonder I mean, Maya, you mentioned, wanting to maybe further your education, law school. I wonder, can you both give a little commentary on, we call it a farming apprenticeship, but really it's learn by doing in the field, challenge yourself, and also classroom learning. And it's a nice balance of the two, which is, I think, both, reasons why you chose this program. If you think about it in furthering your own education, both your hard skills in like impact driver, driving a tractor, like you learned actual hard skills, but then you've also talked so much about the social element of it and the social development of skills. And I think, for your generation, your Gen Z, this is something that is invaluable. And I think it's something that, maybe you would have considered going to graduate school in a more formalized, university education setting. But can you talk a little bit about, for anyone who's considering getting into the trades or has an interest in working with their hands or their body or sees a future in food for themselves, maybe they're not going to become a farmer, but why would you take a farming apprenticeship instead of going to, get your graduate degree at Cornell, for example?
Yeah, I memean, you're never gonna really grasp like how complex the food system is, and also start to unravel and start to understand it. Because I think by the book is like, oh my God, like there's the truck driver, and then there's the grocery store, and then there's this, and then they're all coming together to make this crazy web. But not until you're actually doing it does it start to kind of see how wild and hard and how difficult it is to work within, but also like all the little pieces. Like you start to kind of, I don't know, I think I start to grasp it more when I see it, because here everything is like, it's like its own, Amber Waves is like its own little food system in a sense, because we are both growing it and preparing it and serving it and selling it, and like it's like a small example of all of that. So I think I also just think there's nothing cooler than growing food. I think that like you can go get a degree, and I think you should maybe at some point, but if you want to. But I just think that there's so much value in that, and if you want to feel that kind of accomplishment at the end of your day, that like you did something and you created something, it doesn't really compare to anything else. I mean, my friends who come like try out for a day or like, volunteer for a day, they're like, wow, I feel so accomplished. And I don't think you can really get that in a school setting. I think it's a more like over a semester, like, yay, I finished my classes, that felt good, I learned something. But it's like this day-to-day like affirmation that what I'm doing has a real impact and is actually important and makes me feel good. And that's something that I feel like there are hard days, but it's like I'm affirmed every day of my work. just by being with people that I love to be working with, and also just seeing where the food that I'm growing is going.
Yeah, the visible proof of accomplishment that's all around you at the farm can be really addictive. And I mean, in a world where I think most people's work is on screens. I was saying, there used to be 40,000 pounds of squash in the field, and now it's in bins in that cooler. Like, it is a major deal. Or we packed 350 CSA boxes today, or we're looking at those carrot beds, and they used to be weedy, and now they're not. Now they're tidy. And so you see those physical changes in the land around you, and then get to share the experiences that people have with the food that you produce. I agree. There is nothing like it. And once Katie and I found it, we were like, well, there's nothing else for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very deeply fulfilling in a way that nothing else I've ever done has been.
How did the economics play into it for you? I know when I was looking at farming apprenticeships, I considered one in California. This is almost 20 years ago. They didn't provide housing, and it was a $13 an hour paid position. So it was paid working and learning time, but I couldn't make the economics work. So I'm wondering, and here at Amber Waves, it's paid learning time, paid working time. You pay for your housing, but we provide a subsidy for it. We try to make it realistic and accessible and equitable that anybody could participate in the program. I think very much different than graduate school, for example, right? Because we essentially provide scholarship to you to come and learn and work and be paid. You can get a scholarship to go to graduate school as well. But how do the economics work for you in your life at this point? Does it feel like a strain? Does it feel like a stress? Does it feel like a sacrifice? Does it feel like worth the investment myself and time? What does that feel like for you?
Yeah, I think for me, as I mentioned, I was debating like maybe going to law school, which would have been a hefty investment for something I wasn't quite sure I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be involved in like food access and food justice initiatives. And for a minute I was like, oh, maybe this is the route I want to take to that. But then back to your earlier question, I realized that in order to learn more about the things I want to like eventually like reform and change, I need to have like the on the ground experience in growing and distributing the food. And so I think, yeah, if you compare the economics of like going to a graduate or law school program versus here where we have like subsidized housing and then also access to like farm cars as well, I think it's been a very worthy investment of my time and labor. And yeah, I haven't ever really questioned that.
Yeah. I was in a similar place too, where I didn't really want to pay somebody to teach me something yet. Like, I hadn't got to the point where I really knew what it was that I wanted to spend money on to learn more about. And I think if you come here, you're not spending money to learn, and you're learning such a variety of things. Like, I don't know, maybe I want to go to grad school to study soil health, but is that something that I actually want to spend money on right now to learn? No, I don't know that yet actually about myself. So it's like, maybe I'm interested in livestock and that kind of thing. I've never been around animals of goats this size this regularly, so it's just I wanted to get the exposure without having to like pay for one specific program, because then once you do that graduate school, it like kind of funnels you into a thing. And yeah, I wasn't ready to make that like monetary choice. So yeah, I feel very happy with that.
This generation is much more pragmatic about spending on education than it was when we were going to undergrad, where like you just kind of like put your blinders on and you went to school, you took out $1 gajillion of loans and you just went to school, and that's just what you did. And now people are thinking a little differently and a little more intentionally about the dollars they're spending on the whole economy has changed in the last 20 years since we started doing this.
What are you cooking right now?
Katie's like, yeah, let's not talk about the economy.
True, that's a different track for a different time.
I brought some delicata and koji nut squash back to the city a few weekends ago, and I roasted that with maple syrup and some harissa and za'atar, and then some sprouting cauliflower on the side for my parents. And they were like, "This is the best squash I've ever had."
I had my first delicata of the season last night.
good.
Have you had
they're
one?
No,
They're, like,
I haven't
amazing.
had it
Oh
yet.
my gosh! Like I know that it's, and coconut is my other favorite. I took that one home too, but I did the delicata first, and I knew that it was like gonna be great, but it was so good. I did I did sweet potatoes, beets, and delicata squash, and they just like on the tray, all next to each other, with different shapes,
did, like,
and
the
different
half
colors.
moon?
Yes, I did the half moons, and I have the seeds for roasting on the side, and I was like photographing it in my kitchen just for myself
Because it was to our Slack, Amanda.
I
We wanna
actually
see. Yeah,
yes,
come on,
we
let them
have. We should be entered in like the international most fun Slack channels
really should be.
awards if such an awards gala exists. It's really good. We use Slack the way that it should be. Yeah, I mean, who else has a Slack channel that's like animals, chickens, goats?
That's my favorite
You know,
one.
that's
I remember during orientation, I read that and I like laughed out loud. And I was like, I just can't believe this. This is awesome.
Yeah, people it's a little more.
Danielle was like, okay.
Or birds for just
Yeah.
when you see like
bird.
this way, whenever the bald eagles are circling, you know, the whole property can know about it and everyone walks outside. So
Yeah.
or the bird nerds do.
I know, but we all take that moment. Yeah, that happens.
It is
yeah.
a great internal alert and gratitude channel. It's a way to get everyone on the same page.
What do you think? What's your favorite thing that you cooked this year? Did you have any like go-to like repeats? As one of my favorite things about I really learned how to cook when Katie and I were apprentices at Quail Hill. I was young. I was 22, and I didn't really know how to cook. So I cooked from the field instead of the other way around. And so that really informed kind of my whole ethos of cooking in my kitchen now. I just always cook backwards from what's in the field rather than making. I have actually a hard time. I love cookbooks and I just consume them, but I have a hard time with them because I don't go recipe forward. I go field back.
I've been finding that problem too. I thought that was just me. Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so it's like being in reverse because I'll be looking through and I'll be like, no, that's cute, but no, I'm
Right.
not gonna do
Yeah, I
that.
love that.
So it's just really like for pleasure reading, which is also fine. But one of the things that's fun about being on the farm is that there feels like there's this luxury of abundance because if you mess something up, you just like do it again. I mean, you're just like, I'm gonna try this dish and it's gonna be weird. I'm gonna try it again tomorrow. And you're just gonna like take the extras and there's just is so much food around. So did either of you either find a new recipe or recreate a family recipe that you like loved as a kid, or was there something you made again and again?
Well, I was making a lot of sauce. My family is Italian. We love to make tomato sauce. I've never been around this many tomatoes, this much abundance of tomato, where I could just like make sauce all the time. Yeah, and like that has been so fun. Also the radicchio, growing like another like Italian like heritage kind of vibe green it's been so fun for me, seeing all the different varieties. I've been cooking radicchio like almost every night, or not every, but like I love it. I don't know what's going on.
How are you
but
cooking
I don't.
it? What are you doing? You're
so
roasting it?
a lot of Italians would say like you roast it, you don't eat that raw, like it's very bitter. But I really like it raw. But I put like
Especially
like finely chopped, and also with like Parmesan, like thinly sliced Parmesan, lemon, lots of lemon, salt, oil, and then I eat it like with like something fatty, like a yogurt sauce on the side with my delicata squash, the little sweetness there. So it needs like the bitterness of the radicchio does need to be paired with, needs to be paired with like the sweetness of the butternut squash or something to make it feel a little bit less bitter. But that's been so much fun, and like seeing that's been great.
Yeah, for me, I'm vegetarian, and so it's been great being surrounded by so many vegetables, but funnily enough, before I came here, I wasn't the biggest tomato fan. And so this year, in the beginning of the season, I was like, this season is gonna make me a tomato lover.
And did it?
It did, no, it did, it definitely did. I remember when Natalie's friend was here, we made together like a pesto pasta with our basil, with like some sun golds chopped up, and it was really, really good. It was delicious. So yeah, I've definitely changed my tune.
I mean, do your friends just think you're the coolest? Like, you're farmers, you're driving tractors, you're growing your own food, you're bringing it home, you're making them dinner, la 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 la.
I'm becoming an Instagram influencer unintentionally, but now I'm like, oh my God, I'm posting a lot. Like, this is crazy, but there's so much good content. I'm like, all this stuff that we get to do, I feel so lucky. Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
They're definitely jealous.
Yeah. Oh, it's wild.
What are you cooking lately, Katie?
Let's see. Yesterday I made a 13 bean soup.
Whoa, what?
And was it?
13 beans?
I didn't count the varietals. I trusted Bob, but
Okay, got
the
it.
base of it was tomatoes, just beefsteak, quartered 3 of them. I did this project with my 8-year-old, Beatrice. Quartered the tomatoes, carrots, celery, but we did it in like a chili style, and we didn't like think through like sauteing or anything. We were just Beatrice was making her own cooking show. That's actually what was going on.
I love that.
So I was sous chef, B was cooking, but a lot of soups. I'm making a lot of soups. Yesterday happened to be a vegetarian bean-based chili.
I had soup 4 times last week.
Wow.
I mean,
Soup season.
it's soup and sweater season. Get
And
excited.
things that you can share. Like this reminds me of like we've had so many fun nights at our house, like cooking with the other farmers and like making meals together from our produce. So, like Sophia, who was I think on the podcast, she made like a whole Spanish tapas night for us, where she cooked like I think like 8 dishes using old farm produce. Yeah, I mean, it's just like food has always been a reason to get together, and it's really shown that throughout the season. Yeah.
So what's next for you? For what do you? So we're in. Well, what's next for you is 6 more weeks of lifting heavy things. Actually, before we talk about what's next, what's left on the to-do list of the season that you know of?
I think probably foremost, once the rain lets up, is sweet potato harvest. I think we still have 8 to 10 beds left of sweet potatoes left to lift and
Yeah, it's 450 feet times carry the one. Yeah, it's far. Yeah.
But that's a good, that linear description is helpful for people to understand.
Like,
2
nobody
miles of
knows
sweet
yards.
potatoes
Yeah.
we're going to dig up and bring them in
Yeah,
to
it's gonna
cure.
happen.
Yeah, I guess it's not quite a mile.
It's a lot.
But
It's a lot.
lot.
Okay, so that's what's coming
Definitely
out.
coming up, and we still have a lot of CSA members.
Yes.
So still harvesting for the CSA each week. We're starting to do a lot more donation too this time of year. We have a lot more in the field. This morning we harvested 300 heads of lettuce to donate to East Hampton Food Pantry and Springs Food Pantry.
Do you guys have anything you want to ask us?
Yeah, what are you guys most excited for in the next month and a half?
I think figuring out, well, we're having one-on-one meetings with everybody right now, figuring out who's staying, which positions we have open, who's going to move up, is really, that's a really fun process. I have been saying to people in our meetings that we really, the farm is like it itself is a living organism, and the way that the jobs and roles and positions evolve every year, it does change. But this year, I don't think we've ever nailed the positions as well as we did this year. And so I'm excited to see how we can replicate and even improve on it next year, although this year was so excellent. The team was just so hardworking and competent and had such a good attitude. So just
Really good mentors. I think it's because you play to people's strengths, and like the reason why things shift and it's a living organism is because you realize that all of us are living organisms and that we have individual strengths and needs, and then like you create that role for that person, which I think is like maybe part of it.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for saying that. A couple years ago, we did shift the apprenticeship program and it's different now than it was 2 years ago, because we realized, I don't know if it was the farm changed or kind of like a generational change, but we had to shift just the intention of hours per week and expectations and clear communication. It really changed. I think changed for the better the way that we run everything. So, which has led to great retention. So, but we have space for people for next season.
Yes, apply.